Okay guys, so I'm just going to do a short video on element 19, so I'm just typing that in there now. I set up the job and I imported the drawings, and there's a separate video on importing drawings and setting up job if you want to read that, if you don't know how to do that. In this case, I'm going to do the element 19, and it's the main items to be measured under element 19. So the main materials to be measured under element 19. A couple of things about this video. There might be some very slight differences depending on how I described it in class. That's just the nature of how things are different in class sometimes to how a video. I'm trying to focus really tight with this video, so there'll be less, I suppose, explanation, maybe some slight arrangement details slightly different. Don't worry about it. When you submit your detail, whichever way you were taught, whether you're following along with this video or whether you were taught in class, it's fine. So if you notice something slightly different in your cubit measure to this, that's fine. Okay. So we just make a couple of assumptions. I'm going to make and state assumptions at the start. I suppose the main assumptions would be what's not included. So I'm going to start off by saying that the reduced level excavation, so the excavation down to this point here, is by others. So reduced level dig by others, quite common on big projects that you would have, say, one large contractor does the main civils, and then you might have a smaller contractor will do the, you have a smaller contractor then will come in and do the house development, if you like. So reduced level dig by others. Okay, that's the first assumption. Second assumption is going to be that the external line of the insulation, so that line there, the external line of the insulation, that's where you can see it up there also. So the external footprint of the building marked by the insulation will be our external, our boundary for this particular element, if you like. So this is where we're only measuring to the external line of the insulation. So note only measuring to external insulation. So the two drawings that I need for this job would be the ground floor plan and the section. So you can find those in Brightspace. So in this case, I'm looking at the section because I'd like to see the makeup of the slab. So there's makeup of the foundation and then the floor slab. So where I see floor slab there, I'm going to use this as my guide. Now, I spoke in class about different ways that you can get access to that information based on looking at the plans, based on your own experience, and so on and so forth. For the purposes of this CA, I'll accept the manner that you did it in class, or this one here. In this case, I've got a list here, so I'm just going to use this as the checklist. Okay, so I'm just going to say floor slab, and I'm going to just type in this information there. So 100 mil RC slab. So that's the top. If we're working from the top down, if you like, 100 mil RC slab. So that's my floor slab in there. Start there and work our way down. I have 4 layers of 100 mil polystyrene. 4 layers of 100 mil polystyrene insulation. Perfect. Make that a little bit wider so I can just read that better. Yep, excellent. Then I've got 30 mil to 50 mil, blah, blah, blah. You can continue on doing that. I'm going to pause now for a second. Okay, so I've just listed off all of my items there from that description. So I've got my 100 mil slab, my 4 layers of 100 mil polystyrene insulation, 30 to 50 mil 6 mil grade dust-free stone. That's a new item that may be new to some of you there, that dust-free stone, and that's taken off this particular specification this architect has come up with. 6 mil grade geotextile, that just help keep the stone separate from the radon membrane, just protect the radon membrane and allow any moisture that gets in to escape. The radon barrier itself then, That's a DPM, a dual DPM radon membrane. So that'll stop the moisture from getting into the building and stop the radon from getting into the building. 20 mil sand blinding, that's protecting the underside of the radon. And then your 300 mil well compacted cloths 505 stone. That's providing a solid base to build the structure on. Now, all of that is taken directly from the drawings, so you can read the drawings in your own time. Result. So I'm going to start off with, the first thing I should say is when you look at that column between description and job, sometimes it's even hard. Sometimes it's just 3 little dots there. So you have to just drag that. I'm dragging that with my left mouse button, just kind of dragging it across there just to see result. The result is the most important thing there. So I'm looking for a result, and then I should see quantity, and they're the two things that I'm interested in. So I've got a drop-down menu when I click on result, various different items in there. So area, length, length by center, volume, all that kind of stuff. So for the 100 mil slab, what I'm interested in is I'm interested in the volume. Okay, the volume, the meters cubed. So I'm going to click in there, and I'm going to click on volume. It's the first thing. And if I widen that a little bit, should see there. There you go, meters cubed. Okay, perfect. So then I click on home, and I have a choice up here of how I'm going to measure. The easiest thing for volume is Polyline, and if you hover over Polyline, you get some information around that there. Left click, says there, left click, build up a shape by clicking multiple points. Hold the left button, create an arc. It's for curves. And then right click, finish or close a shape. So I'm going to select Polyline. I'm going to make sure that this column, this row here, 100 mil slab, is highlighted in green. If Polyline doesn't work, it's often because this isn't highlighted in green, so you have to click into it. So if I'm in a different item, for example, you can see Polyline is gray. So I have to click into that, and now Polyline goes blue. And then I'm just going to start. I'm going to work to the, we said we work to the outside corner of the insulation for this. So I'm just going to pick on any corner there and just start clicking. And for easiness, I'm going to hit Ortho. If you look, that line is allowed to go at any angle. If I click Ortho, it'll just go 90 degree. Snap in there at 90 degree. Yeah, there you go. Starting to snap now. So I'm just clicking all the way around. Just going to follow the outside edge of the insulation. Don't worry, by the way, this is approximate. Okay, this is approximate estimating for construction managers. So don't worry if you slightly over measure. Probably better to over measure actually than slightly under measure. If I want to drag that around, I just hold down my little mouse button there and I can drag that around just to see the drawing there. Sometimes it's hard to actually read these drawings. There's a ramp going in there. So going right to me in there to that corner. Just clicking all the way around. Almost done now. When I reach that first blue point, that'll be me finished. And then I can click on that and I can hit the right button and that'll just close it for me. And it's telling me 18.38 meters cubed. Now, there's an important piece of information about this. It's called the details. When I look at my detail, sometimes, yeah, the description is telling me over there what the description is. Sometimes the default setting for this is that it's a 125 mil slab. If I click on the shape, I want you to look what happens over here. This is the detail section. I want you to look what happens when I click on the shape. See how the depth came up? Depth 125. So that's automatically set for 125. We know it's 100 mil, so we have to change that to 100. We'll talk about waste and stuff like that later on, but for now we're just measuring the actual quantities. So that shape there is the ground floor plan. I'm now getting 14.7 meters cubed. Happy with that. and move on to the next one. Now the beauty of this, I know I've written all these out. You could manually do all these measures again, or what you can also do is you can copy and paste, because the shape is very similar to what we're looking for. So we just right click on that and copy, and then we left click on where it says 4 layers. We right click again and we'll paste. And you see there now you have the same item. And if I change that description to match the one below, it says 4 layers of 100 ml polystyrene. And if I change that to area, now all of a sudden I know that I've got 147 meters squared. So I don't need to manually click, because it's the same shape. It's just giving me a different unit. It's now giving me meters squared. I can delete that row there. Different ways of doing this. Some people like to have a list that they're working towards, and so they don't mind deleting as they go. Other people will have a second screen, and they're looking at a second screen, or they might write it down. You do whatever works for you. For me, it helps me to see a clear list of what I'm doing. So next thing I'm doing is 30 to 50 mil, 6 mil dust-free stone. And so I'm just going to pause there for a second. Okay, so just on this side, 30 to 50 mil of 6 mil grade dust-free stone. So that's essentially pea gravel, and its role is to provide additional drainage. So I'm going to do the same thing in terms of shape, copy that and paste. This time I'm going to change it back. Let's see if I can just copy that text in there. Save me a bit of messing. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I don't have to write it every time. And I'm going to change that to volume. And this time I'm going to go into my shape and change that to 60 mil. 60. So I'll take the upper level. It's not going to be a lot in that. Eight cubes. Okay, so 8.8 cubes of essentially, sorry, should have been 50 mil. 8.8 cubes of 6 mil. Just under 8 cubes of 6 mil stone. Okay, perfect. Delete that. Now, same area again here. Copy that for my 6 mil grade geotextile. You can see how copy and paste comes in quite a lot here. I'm going to take that, copy, change that up a little bit. I'm just using the delete function here, copy and paste, just to copy and paste this material in. And I have my grid geotextile. What I might do for my geotextile, because there's going to be laps, is I can go in there and I can adjust the factor. So in my factor section there, because we're going to overlap that material, with the insulation we're going to just butt it against each other, but with the geotextile we're going to overlap it. We'll allow a factor of about 10%. So if I say 1.1, that should change that. So if you just look at the dimension there, it's 147. If I say 1.1 and hit enter, it jumps up to 162 meters squared. So you can just manually make that change in the factor section. Radon membrane will be similar to the geotextile and also would have a similar level of waste. So I'm going to copy and paste that one down there. And I'll just accept that measure. See how when you copy and paste, it just transfers the factor as well. I'll accept that, so I'll leave that as it is. Change that text there. Just actually cut and paste, couldn't I? Yeah, copy and paste or cut and paste, both will work. 20 mil sand blinding. So sand blinding to stone is measured in area as well. So even though your dust-free stone, if you like, is measured in meters cubed, our sand blinding is measured in area. And the main reason for that is the thickness of it can vary, and we don't really want to be kind of disputing thicknesses later on. And most of the work with sand blinding is actually rolling it out. It's the labor as opposed to material that's only a small amount of, as you can see there, 20 mil. It's very small in terms of volume. So we'll measure that in area. So best area to use there would actually be the net area. So this one here. So I'm just copying and pasting the relevant areas down. So changing the text again. I'm using the same shapes. You can see how I'm very quickly building up my description here. And I'm almost done. And my very last one, which is my 300 mil well compacted clause 505 stone, I'm going to use the 100 mil slab because that's volume. And I'm just going to change it from 100 mil to 300 mil. So I'll change the description first of all. Cut and paste. And then I'm going to change the shape detail. So when I'm in that description, when I have that row highlighted, I should have a shape down here, and I'm going to go to detail. Before I do that, I want to show you something that sometimes happens with your screen, depending on who was using the computer last. Sometimes you can't see this calculation sheet and the rate sheet down here. You actually can't see that box. So if that ever happens, just go to View, go up here to View, and make sure that Takeoff is the view that you're looking in. So Takeoff will just reset that for you. So you can just click Takeoff, and it just sort of resets the view a little bit. And then I'm going to click on that shape. And over there, I have 100 mil thickness from previous. I'm going to change that to 300 mil. And that's it. That's my work is done. So now what I'm going to ask you to do in terms of saving it is I'm going to ask you to take a screenshot of that. So I have a print screen button there. I would just click print screen, for example. I'd make it a bit smaller then, go in somewhere else like Microsoft Word, and just paste that in and save it. Probably best to save it as, you can do whatever function you like. You can go into, there's other functions you can go into. But in my case, there you go. I can save it as a JPEG, or I can even save it in Word, whichever, it doesn't matter. So long as I can see that. Let me try and save that as a JPEG. Save it as this PC. See, can I save that as a JPEG or a PDF? Probably the quickest. Okay, I'm just going to call that screenshot. Screenshot element 19. So I'm looking for a screenshot of each of them. That's, if you like, just a hard copy screenshot, if you like, that I can't do anything with. And then I'll be looking for the formal backup to the measure as well. So to get the backup to the measure, just save that as whatever, screenshot one. Save, get out of there. Back into my Qubit. For the backup, if I just hit X, what I'm looking for is to get back to the main job manager screen. That's my job manager screen. And then if I highlight my project and my job, which is in this case is called element 19 substructures, and I hit export, it'll ask me where do you want to export to. Export it somewhere that you can attach it. So I'm just going to use that one there, somewhere that you can attach it as a as an attachment. And that's just backing it up then as a CBX or an EOX file, depending on which method you have. So if you can send me both of those, send me the Qubit export and send me the screenshot for each element. That's it. So now I'm going to do 2 more elements for you. Thank you very much.